When we inject HGH, it lasts about 5 hours in the body, and it has a specific curve to it. When we take Mk-677, it's like taking microdoses of growth hormone throughout the day.
It definitely increased my hunger, which at that time I really didn't need so much.
Keep in mind too, so Mk-677 is going to make you hungry. It works through the ghrelin receptor.
Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Team Enhanced here. We have Dr. Tony Huge. How's it going, Tony?
Be swell and soul, friends of freedom.
Awesome. Good to see you, brother. So today we're going over the topic of the popular Mk-677 and some of the uses and how it may benefit your life. First and foremost, Rob, let's talk about your experience with Mk-677.
Well, I only took Mk-677 about 2 times, and it was back in the day when Enhance was first starting off and stuff like that with that. And I was new to the whole entire game. So I had researched it a bit, but I was kind of like, I was using myself as a guinea pig on a lot of things. And I was still I was extremely still heavy and morbidly obese at that point, I would say. And I was like, let me try it to see. So my experience, I wouldn't say I should run it again now at my current weight, because I was probably running it at like 275 pounds with not too much lean muscle on me at all. And now I'm 212 pounds. So it'd be interesting if I took it again. But for me, I felt it definitely increased my hunger, which at that time I really didn't need so much. I felt very tired on it. And I really didn't give it like a fair enough try. So I think I'm going to try it again now and see how I really do on it. And I had tried with 10 and I had tried with 20 milligram dose. And I think I ran it for about 30 days. And
keep in mind too, so Mk-677 is going to make you hungry. It works through the ghrelin receptor. Yeah. Then on top of that, it does cause a little bit of lethargy. That's why I personally take it at nighttime. But since you're severely overweight, you had other factors as well. Your estrogen most likely was high, your testosterone was low. So it could be a whole different cycle once you run it a second time.
Yeah, I think matter of fact, I'm going to have somebody send me a bottle next week, and I'm going to try it again.
Absolutely. Yeah. And keep in mind too, I'm actually running an experiment now as promised. I'm running the Mk-677, and I'm also using the tesofensine as promised for the viewers to see if I could get rid of the hunger side effect, and it's working just on time. It's actually helping significantly.
A lot of people ask me that question. They're like, can I run Teso with MK? And I'm like, sure, why not? Like, if you want to come back that hunger, or like you said, you can definitely, like, I'm very knowledgeable on the subject, but you could run the MK at night and you could definitely kind of beat that lethargic feeling. Let's really talk about the pathway of what MK actually does to you in the human body. Tony, you got any input on that?
For the appetite suppression also, yeah, I noticed that tesofensine worked to decrease the appetite, or the urge to eat bad foods that we shouldn't be eating, especially. Right? And then liraglutide, Saxenda, which is one of the most popular appetite suppressants, FDA approved, that comes in the injection pen. I did an experiment to use that to mitigate the hunger effects of Mk-677, and it didn't work. Now, I could try taking a higher dosage and all that, but it looks like that hunger limiting pathway doesn't work with MK, but the tesofensine, which is the neurotransmitter pathway of limiting hunger, does work. Yeah.
What exactly does it do to cause your body to produce more human growth hormone, correct?
Mk-677, yeah, through the ghrelin receptor. So, it's part of the reason why it makes you release growth hormone is because of the hunger. So they really fit hand in hand. Well, you don't actually have to feel the hunger. You could have ghrelin being released without actually feeling the hunger if you block the hunger through the neurotransmitters, like through tesofensine, for example.
What about like semaglutide? I know liraglutide or whatever you call it. Semaglutide would be like very similar since it's a GLP-1 agonist, right? Like same ways. Or...
So that pathway doesn't seem to limit the hunger of Mk-677 very well. But we could try a mega dosage. I didn't try a mega dosage. The problem with semaglutide, which is the most popular one, is as you go up in dosage, you get really nauseous. So semaglutide, I don't. Oh, the nauseous I had for it lasted for days. You know, and I just, but I didn't get that nausea from Saxenda, from liraglutide.
And I remember watching videos like way back in the day on YouTube of Tony, talking about MK and stuff like that. That was one of the reasons why I decided to try it. Like, how do you compare? And I've heard you talk about this numerous amounts of times, but I want the viewers to hear. How do you compare MK to like HGH, of taking HGH?
When we inject HGH, it lasts about 5 hours in the body, and it has a specific curve to it. When we take Mk-677, it's like taking microdoses of growth hormone throughout the day. So
give or take, I guess the golden ticket he's asking is, so in comparison to IUs to, let's say, 20 milligrams of Mk-677, that's a very popular question. I normally say about 2 to 3 IUs of, generic HGH or even farm is equivalent to about 10 to 20 of, MK, but that's from my personal research, not from blood work, but from other people, responding on different forms. But I haven't personally got my blood work taken. I wonder if Tony could dive into this.
Yeah, so I did a lot of blood work experiments on Mk-677 and on growth hormone. So if you inject 10 units of growth hormone and you wait 2.5 hours to where the growth hormone peaks and you test your blood levels, you might get somewhere between 25 and 40 on the growth hormone serum. So then if you take Mk-677, you might get somewhere around 14. But you're getting growth hormone pulsing all day long. So if you look at the area under the curve, like the amount of time times the amount of growth hormone in your blood, I mean, it depends on the person, because Mk-677 is causing your body to produce its own natural growth hormone, and everybody's body could have different limiting factors along the way. Like your age and how your body weight and your sex and how much growth hormone your body's naturally capable of producing. But imagine if you hold a level of 14, your growth hormone serum level, for 12 hours, how much more growth hormone is actually like your body's being subjected to than even 10 units of growth hormone, because the 10 units of growth hormone goes to, let's say, 30 or 35, but that's a peak in the middle of only a 5-hour period, versus the Mk-677 is all day. So I don't know if I've seen a study comparing the area under the curve, but the main point is it's very significant. The amount of growth hormone that comes from Mk-677 is very significant, and it's the body's own natural growth hormone. And there's an advantage to have your body produce its own growth hormone rather than be injecting synthetic growth hormone.
Absolutely. Hey, Seth, do you have any experience with the Mk-677?
Yeah, of course. I actually was using it last week, just for some research purposes, of course. But I like to experiment with it at night, just like how Rob does, kind of to defeat that hunger purpose. But if I want to eat a shitload of food one day, I'll do it on a cheat meal, and I'll actually incorporate the slim pills to offset that insulin spike as well, which I think Tolo has there. And it actually helps shuttle the carbs into your muscles more, and you actually look way fuller with the Mk-677 as you use both of them together. Tony, I know you do that regularly as well, right? You like to utilize the slim pills when you take the Mk-677?
Yeah, I always take something to mitigate blood sugar increases on Mk-677. So either insulin or slim pills or metformin at night. I think for most people, if they're using MK, it's probably because they don't want to be injecting or growth hormone. So usually we want to stay with things that are oral only, which leaves slim pills or metformin. Problem with metformin is it can act a little bit like an anti-anabolic. So slim pills are like the bodybuilder's version of metformin to lower blood sugar, increase insulin sensitivity, and shuttle the sugar into the muscles, which counteracts the side effects of Mk-677. So combined Mk-677 and slim pills, highly synergistic.
Yes,
it makes perfect sense. And I mean, there's videos of Tolo and videos of Tony taking their blood sugar before and after slim pills, and it definitely works. I mean,
I ate that big piece of cake, took the slim caps before I ate the big piece of cake, showed very, very little change in my blood glucose.
And
very,
guys,
very little change.
And
generally it shows spiked right up. So,
and you have to understand, when you're using metformin, there's also, you could get some nasty sides with that too, with your stomach. And also it's very toxic to your kidneys at high doses. So you have to be careful. So slim pills are definitely my suggestion, a much safer route to go than using metformin. And they're definitely effective.
So what would you technically like debate on, like, for someone who is trying to just, like, let's say, use something for a shorter time versus a longer half-life? I know the HGH is a shorter pathway. It's not all day versus like the Mk-677. What would you recommend for someone that's just doing it for like longevity purposes? Tony, like, do you have any recommendations for something like that?
For longevity purposes, if it's me and I'm going to inject growth hormone for longevity purposes, I'm probably just doing like 1 or 2 units of growth hormone before bed, and or 1 or 2 units in the morning, just depending on a bunch of factors, let's say. And then if I'm taking Mk-677, I'm probably taking just 10 milligrams before bed, maybe 5 nights per week, or maybe 4 nights per week. So
What's
that would be
the highest dose of MK you've run, Tony?
The highest dosage?
Yeah.
Oh, probably 40 milligrams. I mean, from the studies that I ever read, there's quite a law of diminishing returns after 30 milligrams. So like 10 milligrams is significant. 20 milligrams does more, 30 milligrams, a little bit more. And then after that, it's like you could keep taking as much as you want, but your body can't produce more growth hormone in response.
So would it have any benefit of taking both together, like HGH and Mk-677? Like
that? Yeah, that's what Coach Trevor always used to do. Coach Trevor, he liked taking growth hormone because you can get your levels to peak higher in a shorter period of time, so that you could take more. In his case, he would like to take more insulin during that window and then give his body a break from insulin other times. And he would take the Mk-677 along with it because he thought it was much healthier if the body was producing some of its own growth hormone at the same time. Because when you inject growth hormone, it suppresses your own natural production of growth hormone. And there's some benefits to the other types of growth hormone that your body naturally produces, and some of the events that happen biologically from the production of your own growth hormone. So he would just take a little bit of Mk-677 so that the body was producing growth hormone at the same time you're injecting synthetic growth hormone.
Well, that's
they also do have the MK injectable version now, or it's been out for a while too. Like, how would effective injecting it? Would it be closer to the HGH, like if you were to inject it, versus like just taking HGH? Or
nope, it's still going to have the same curve for Mk-677. I mean, it's still Mk-677 is still going to act. It's not going to act like growth hormone. The reason why Coach Trevor and I were the first ones to put it in injectable form, and the reason we were doing that is to see if we could get the growth hormone response without the ghrelin response, so that we could decrease the appetite from it. And we did a lot of experiments and a lot of research, and I don't know if we actually pinpointed all of that down. We ended up stopped injecting the Mk-677.
Absolutely. When I run my Mk-677, I also use IGF-1 too. I don't know if that's something you guys experimented with, but the gains are like significant. Like you literally grow by the day. Like it's insane.
I was running. I've been running ipamorelin and IGF LR3 for a while. I mean, I don't know. It seems to be working good for me. So I stopped with the IGF. I was on it for like a month, but like I was running IGF with the ipamorelin, and then I was taking MG after my workouts. I was like, holy shit. I was showing pictures to Karan, and he's like, what? Wow. He's like, this is definitely works.
Yeah, you definitely want a growth hormone foundation when running IGF. And then the question is like, oh, do you inject the growth hormone? And if you inject it, then it's only going to be in your system for 5 hours, but the IGF is going to be in there. LR3 is going to be in there for 24 hours. So the Mk-677 gives you a little bit of growth hormone foundation to work with the IGF all day. And it's so easy to just take a pill instead of have to inject it. So yeah, that's what I do also.
A lot of people. Yeah. All right. So
absolutely. Well, Tony, thank you for your input on the Mk-677. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining this episode. You guys have a good night.